MrYorkieLoverFitness.com.
How you guys doing today? Yesterday we lost Hugh Hefner. He passed at 91 years old of natural causes, and he did die at the Playboy Mansion. What he was mostly known for was starting Playboy magazine, which most people know. And what some people may or may not know is he has a big Marilyn Monroe connection. Because on the first issue of Playboy, he had Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, not only was she on the issue, on the cover, she was inside with nude photos. When he released this magazine in 1953, it was an instant success because Marilyn herself was taking off as a celebrity, and she had just started, or she had just been featured in All About Eve. In 1949, she did the nude photos for this photographer, Tom Kelly, for $50. And then Kelly later sold these photos of Marilyn to Hugh Hefner for $500. And that's what he started his magazine with. And like I said, it was all perfect timing. And Hugh Hefner, he credits obviously his success as a photographer and as a publisher to Marilyn Monroe. Now, the interesting thing about all this is they just said that, you know, we'd heard about this, but they just clarified it. It will be true that in Westwood, where Marilyn Monroe is buried right here, they're going to bury Hugh Hefner right here. Now, Hugh Hefner bought this spot back in '92 for $75,000. What the interesting thing about all this is there's a guy above Marilyn Monroe named Richard Poncher. Now, Richard Poncher, here he is right here. He had bought that spot. He was a Marilyn Monroe fan, so when she passed, he had bought that spot from a guy named Joe DiMaggio. So all these sports fans who know who Joe is, he's a Yankee legend, baseball player. He was at one time married to Marilyn Monroe. When they got a divorce, you know, he had pre-bought these spots, you know, for him and Marilyn to be together. But when he got a divorce, he realized they weren't going to be together forever. So he sold this spot to Richard Poncher. Now, when Richard Poncher died, there's rumor and urban lore saying that he was buried upside down just so he could face Marilyn for eternity. And another interesting thing is his eternity almost ended in 2009 when his wife actually put his spot up because she needed money for auction on eBay. And the starting bid was $500,000. And by the time the auction ended, the highest bidder had bid $4.6 million. So Mr. Poncher was going to be relocated because his wife needed the money. But unfortunately, the high bidder fell through and didn't pay. So, you know, Richard still is right here. And what's cool about this whole thing is it's in the Westwood Cemetery where there's a lot of celebrities buried. And I will make a trip there one day because I'd like to see, like, you have Dean Martin, you have Truman Capote, you have Don Knotts, you have Roy Orbison, Frank Zappa. There's just a bunch of Carol O'Connor. There's just a bunch of people buried there. So I'm gonna make a trip in probably November, go down there, because then like I said, Hugh Hefner will be right here and he'll have his plaque. But I thought the whole thing was very interesting of just this Richard story and Hugh's start and how he did get those nude photos of Marilyn. And so then I was also looking what his net worth was. So Hugh Hefner's net worth was $50 million. He lived in the Playboy Mansion, but he didn't own it. It's owned by Playboy Enterprises. And the home itself was worth $100 million. That's what it sold for in 2016. Like, if you read up on Hugh Hefner, he did a lot of things. A very, very interesting life, very full life. We should all be so lucky to make it to the age he made it to, you know, and live the life he lived. And he was, even though he was with several, who knows what the actual count is on women he's been with in his life, but it's got to be in the high thousands, if not more. But he was actually only married 3 times in his life, and he did leave a widow behind. But this guy it's just an amazing life this guy lived, and the impact he had on our culture. But just everything about it was interesting. But so like I said, I'll be going down to the Westwood Memorial Park where he'll be buried, and I'll get you a in-depth video on that, and I'll hit up all the other. Actually, here's his wife, his current wife he's married to. So go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section down below. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.